Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is Thursday. It is me. I'm just waiting for people to come online here. And I can see you, Linda. Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear you just yet, but I can see your mouth movement, so obviously you can hear me. So, all right. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hello to my aunt. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm pretty sure a couple more people are going to be joining us. So this has been shared everywhere, which is fantastic. I have been waiting for this. So hello to my grandmother. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So a couple of things before I start, only because I have a couple of minutes before I bring Linda on. So for those who are not able to catch the live show, just keep in mind that you can watch this afterwards. It's on Facebook. It never goes away, and it's right there on the page. We're also live on YouTube, which for the YouTube shows, they never go away as well, so you can always watch them there. The other good thing is that I'm excited because we're on multiple podcasts as well. So even though this is a video show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, it's also available as a podcast, the entire episode. So for those who use Google and Google Podcasts, you can just tell Google to play The Brian Shepherd Show, and it will play. Trust me, I did it in my car, so I know it works. But we're also on multiple other platforms as well. We're also on Spreaker. We're also on iHeartRadio. And soon I will be adding this to iTunes. So those with iPhones and iPads and all that good stuff, iOS, you'll be able to listen as well. Daniel Payton, hello. Daniel, this is for you. I want to apologize for not watching your videos. I was able to catch the most recent one driving on my way back home from work, which, trust me, I was paying attention to the road. But I wanted to quickly send you a message at a red light, letting you know that I at least was there and I was listening. So, yeah. So, welcome. So, I know we're waiting for a couple of other people. I have lots of people watching, as a matter of fact. So, if you are watching, please like and share the video. As always, everyone needs to see this. So, yeah. How is everyone doing? Since I last saw you last Thursday, that was our last show, which was a fantastic show, by the way. I'm so happy that I was able to have Jeffrey on. So if you missed last week's show, please make sure that you check it out. As of this moment, it is the featured video on the page. However, that always changes every show. I always change the featured video. So tonight's show will actually be the featured one. So it'll pop right up when you go to the Facebook page. What else did I have to say? I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I needed to tell you. There's probably loads of things that I need to tell you, but I just can't remember at this very moment. So maybe later on I'll remember what they are. So Daniel Payne, hello again. Tried watching on my phone and couldn't get it working. So I'm on my computer now. Love the tree topper behind you. Yes, I had to put this here because I don't know where else to put it at this very moment. My shelves are very full. As you guys can see, there's no green screen, and I haven't used a green screen in at least the last 4 shows because normally you would not see anything behind me. You all have seen my office. It's a tragic mess, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not to you guys. But it also is sometimes a conversation starter because everyone sees what's in my office and everyone knows my love of Disney and whatever. But yes, my wonderful Star Trek tree topper, which I can't believe I spent the money for, $149 for this sucker. It's very big. I have to find a spot for it. So I apologize, Dan, if you feel as if though you're being teased. So I don't mean it at all. So So we do have a guest tonight, and we're going to get to her in just a couple of minutes. So let's go back and just remind everyone exactly who's coming on tonight. So I'm going to be talking with author Linda Plunkett, and we're going to be talking about her book, which I think that I've seen it before. I'm not sure if I know someone who's read it, but the cover seems familiar. Maybe I've ran across it on Amazon. I'm not sure. I know it's on Amazon. I looked it up, and I encourage you all, and I posted the link for the book right on the page so that it's easy for you to just click the link. It brings you straight to Amazon. I love Amazon, and I'm glad that most authors are putting their books on Amazon. So you can read it right from there. Just buy it and read it. And the other good thing is that Amazon allows readers to leave a review when you're done reading the book. And I don't think I've stressed this enough when it comes to the authors to come onto the show. If you read the book from Amazon, please leave a review. It's very, very important. Not only does it help the author, but it also helps other readers who may be interested in the book. And I know from personal experience, I read the reviews before I start reading a book. So it's very important. Let's see. Daniel Payton, I have a place for you to put it on top of my tree. No, I'm going to keep it. So, yeah. Sorry, maybe I should just move it so that you don't see it anymore. So, yeah. But anyways, what else was I going to say? There was a couple of other things that I had to say because I don't do 2 shows a week anymore. So, in getting to that, the 2 shows a week should be starting up, I believe, next Friday. So now there'll be even more people coming onto the show twice a week now. I did that before, but unfortunately I had to stop that because now I work on Tuesdays. So hopefully the 2 shows will be Thursday and Friday now. So that's coming up, I think, starting next week. I'm not sure. I'll keep everyone in the loop. So make sure you keep tabs on the Facebook page to see what's happening. It's also, I'll probably post it on the website as well for everyone to keep up to date with the show. So yeah. So Supernatural Rescue, From Broken to Beautiful, is the book that we're going to be talking about with author Linda Plunkett, PhD at the end of her name. So it's even more impressive. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Does anyone have anything they would like to say before we start the interview process of the show? I know you guys are always talking and putting your comments and ideas and everything else out there. So let me know. Also, I have changed to a more clearer picture. I don't know how well you guys can see. You guys can see everything now. I did not shave. So I think with being in high definition, you guys can see absolutely everything. So this is terrible. So I apologize for my appearance. It is another warm night. So I'm sweating in here. So yeah. But other than that, anyone have anything to say? Anybody? I haven't talked to you in a week, so I know you guys are bound to have something to say. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Well, concerns, I don't even want to hear about. Anything at all? Nothing? And hopefully, unlike last week where there was the lag with the comments, I don't know what that was all about. I hope there's not going to be that tonight. Even if there is, it's going to be okay. So Daniel Payton, my high def pics are horrible. You can see me far too clearly. Maybe I'll hire a stand-in. Dan, I don't think you need a stand-in, but the problem is with StreamYard, the platform that I use, they switched from 720 to 1080 now. So yeah, everything looks much clearer, and it does look kind of fairly nice. So actually, I don't really look that bad. So, yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much it. So very nice. What else was there? There was a couple of things I wanted to say at the beginning of the show, and now I can't remember exactly what they are. Oh boy, I'm pretty sure they'll come to me. Maybe at the end of the show, I'll be able to let everybody know. So, all right. So instead of letting her just hang around for another 4 minutes, I'll probably bring her on because she's sitting there waiting. So we'll start to talk to her. Don't forget, depending on what type of device she is using, I'll find out in a couple of minutes whether it's a phone or a PC, whether or not she'll be able to see your comments. But if she can't, I still will be able to, and I'll get to your questions as soon as possible. So get those questions ready. I know you have them. You guys always do. So yeah. So let's bring her on. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Well, thank you so much. I'm honored to be on your show.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. I've been waiting for you to come on, so I'm glad that I had the time, and the person, I believe it was Bruce,
Yes.
emailed me just at the right time, so I had just enough to fill everybody in, so it worked out perfectly.
Oh, I'm so.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not exactly sure what you're using. Are you using a PC, laptop?
Well, unfortunately, my laptop would not support the software, so I'm actually on my phone.
Okay. All right. All right. So what happens is normally if you, like I said, if guests use a laptop or iPad or something, they would normally be able to see the comments of the people watching. So just in case I miss a question, you'd be able to see it. But I'll make sure to pay attention tonight to the questions. I normally get to them all. So the book. I've read the description. I didn't get to start reading it. I did get it, so I do own it. So I will make sure that I start reading it. I didn't have enough time in between, so which normally I do, but I don't. So let's talk about the book. What made you write this book? What is it all about?
Well, Brian, Supernatural Rescue is a book that I never planned to write. There was really everything that happened in the book was a complete surprise, or more of a shock. Shock is probably a better word, but the end of 2012, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor in my frontal lobe, the size of a tennis ball, which required immediate surgery. And after the surgery, basically, I was in great pain as I awoke from coming out of the anesthesia, but basically had a huge void as far as being unable to think, to speak, to walk, to reason, and even felt as a believer in God that God had left me. It was complete emptiness. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. And through the process of the recovery, which it was a long, long recovery, was very dark. It was a lonely time. And honestly, I didn't know anybody who'd gone through anything like I'd been through. And I'd always experienced good health up to that point. And so I was very ill prepared for the situation. But because I felt so lonely and it was such a dark time, I felt I needed to write a book. I felt I was so alone during that time. Nobody could really relate to what I was going through, as far as, the experiences, the emptiness, the depression, the pain, feeling like people were just walking away from me. It was really quite devastating. And so I felt like if I wrote a book and other people going through that same situation wouldn't have to feel as lonely, that maybe could feel like, hey, there's somebody else out there that knows what it's like to be in pain and to suffer. And it can be a very, very lonely, dark place. And there again, I never expected, if you had told me, oh, you're going to have an 8-hour brain surgery and you're going to come out feeling like a vegetable and it may take you years to recover, I'd say you're crazy. You know, I'm healthy. I feel great. I have a great life. I had a PhD. I had a counseling practice. You know, I played golf. I did ballroom dancing. I had a great life, great family, marriage. You know, what more could you ask for? Then all of a sudden you receive the shocking news that you have to have a brain surgery, or basically any day you could die. So it literally rocked my world and turned my world upside down. But because it was such a dark, dark place, I felt like if I wrote the book and one person benefited from this book, it would be worthwhile because it was so difficult for me during that time.
Right. Yeah. And I can't imagine. Well, I can, but I mean, I know people that went through that. But yeah, but then to just write about it. So, in to use yourself, right? As
The way that it started, this it's very interesting. I don't think I could have written the book without the journal. And when I came home from the hospital, I had home health care because literally I couldn't do anything. I would sit and cry and be very emotional and didn't know how to live my life from square one. And a home health care nurse said, you've got a journal. You need to start writing things down because later on you'll look back and you'll see where you came from. And actually, that was very therapeutic. But very ironically, the first few articles or chapters that I wrote, I couldn't even read my own handwriting. So
mm,
it really took some time to begin to mentally process what I was going through in order to write those notes that became the early part of the book.
that was a very good idea.
It was. And, you know, as counselors, we always tell people journal, you know,
Yeah.
things down. And it's very therapeutic. But, you know, I never would have dreamed at that point to do something like that. I felt I had zero in my toolbox. I didn't know where to begin. I felt depressed. I felt empty. I couldn't walk. I couldn't think well. I couldn't do much of anything. So it was a good place for me to start. And it was a long road back.
Was this your first book?
This was my first book. And, you know, having a PhD in psychology and having the practice for many years doing individual marriage counseling, I always thought, oh, maybe one day I'll write a book. But, you know, never did I dream I would write a book about supernatural events and my own illness and recovering from something that a major medical clinic, they basically said, there's nothing we can do for you. And so I hope there will be a second book. Many people have said,
Mhm.
Linda, what did you do when they said, basically, we can't help you. I said, I can't live like this. I have to find a way to get better, to recover and to get my life back to normal. So that's where the hard road really started.
Where do you even start? Okay, so you've made the decision. You know what? Maybe I should write a book. I need to help other people, or what? So where did you come up with the idea of the book?
You know, I think enough people said to me, you know, this has changed who you are. You're a different person.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've helped people for almost 20 years in my counseling practice. And I thought, you know, this is one more way that I can help people.
Right.
People maybe in pain or sick or suffering, or even people that feel separated spiritually. Um, because this was a new place for me. I had no expertise in this area at all. And so it was basically what I learned through the experience that I could share with other people that really motivated me.
Okay, so we turned it into a book. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would read, but you have to like. I'm assuming you added things to make it a complete story. So is that the reason behind supernatural? You know, the title, I should say.
It was basically things that I personally learned. I mean, there are lessons in there that I probably would have taught being a psychologist, but
Mhm.
it's my own personal putting myself in the patient's chair, I guess the way you
Yeah.
say, from my point of view, having gone through it and what was different and what I learned to be different, actually experiencing those things, and maybe what I would have told somebody before this had all happened. We all think we have this great advice, but honestly, if you haven't walked in somebody's shoes,
Mm.
what kind of advice are you giving them? You're giving them very theoretical advice, where I feel at this point in time, I have a lot more practical things I can give to people. And, this surrounds a lot of topics in there. Again, if you read the book, but, dealing with other people, dealing, dealing with your own anger regarding a situation. Why am I going through it? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? You have a lot of questions when you go through a very difficult illness and something that you can't seem to get well, and you don't know why you can't get well, and you don't know what's going on. And you've gone to the experts and they say, we can't help you. I had to do a lot of research. And so I went out and I read a lot of books by brain doctors and other people that gave me a variety of knowledge that basically I could learn
Hmm.
myself, and then in turn help other people.
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't even know what I would do when I would hear those words. There's nothing we can do for you. Like, I have no idea. I don't even know what I would do. A book
Well,
would not even come across my mind, even after surviving something like this and going through, what you went through and not being able to do anything. So, how long was it before, or I should say, after, in recovery, did you think, okay, I have this journal. I should turn this into a book? What was the time length?
well, it was really, I would say, a couple years, because of the fact my brain recovery, I was starting to recover, I would say, at about 8 months, where I could say, hey, I'm starting to feel a little more normal, like I can do more things that I used to do.
Mhm.
But then one morning I woke up and I had pain all over my body and I couldn't sleep anymore. And so there were literally a couple years dealing with what they called fibromyalgia, which doctors will argue and say, oh, I don't believe in fibromyalgia. And other doctors will tell you, oh, it's a diagnosis. And I will tell you that it can be different for everybody, but it does come from the nerve endings, such as the endings, in the brain. The nerve endings come from the brain. And they say that any trauma to your brain can cause fibromyalgia. But during that point, when I wasn't sleeping, or sleeping very little and having pain, it really changed me into what I tell people, a not very nice person. I really didn't like myself.
Mm.
But yeah, at that point, until I found a certain medication that helped me temporarily, there wasn't really anything I could do about it. So honestly, I was really not in any shape to write the book till I think about 2015 is when I really started working on it. And then it was published in 2016.
So only about a year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had the notes. I had journaled, continued to journal about what I learned when the doctors said we can't help you, and I went out and researched what other doctors had to say. And what you were talking about a minute ago, Brian. Really, when someone says we can't help you, you have two choices, and one choice is to say, okay, they can't help me. If I mention the name of this medical institution, a lot of people would say, if they can't help me, nobody can help me. I might as well give up. And I was a mess, physically, emotionally. I mean, at that point, I was really a mess. All I knew was I needed help. I couldn't live like that. But a lot of people probably would say, hey, they're experts. They know. I might as well just give up. I might as well just stay where I am and be a disabled person, basically. But in my case, I am grateful that I apparently was strong enough, with the help of God, that I said, I can't live like this. If I'm alive, there's got to be a way for me to get better. And
Right.
that's when I started reading books by brain doctors and other people that were experts in the field.
Very smart. Very smart. I'm just going to throw this one question out there. So Daniel Payton is a fellow author. And he says, Dr. Plunkett mentioned her religious background. Was she, or is she, a counselor at a church or religious organization?
Well, I founded my own nonprofit, Hope for the Hurting, in 2003. But I'm basically, while I have a PhD and I'm an ordained minister, other than having my own nonprofit, I do independent work. I do inspirational speaking. I've done mission trips. I intend to write another book. I do different radio shows, blog posts. I'm working on an online Christian counseling / coaching program. So really, I guess you'd say I'm more independent. I'm not, well, I profess to be a Christian. I'm not connected to a church. I have my own board, who we have regular board meetings, and I look to them for advisory capacity, but not really connected to a church per se.
I'm pretty sure since the book has come out, I'm pretty sure you've heard from people who have read the book. I'm assuming, I would hope,
Oh, of course.
it has helped somebody in some way. So, and then they say, there's got to be a book 2. There has to be a book 2. So is there a plan for book 2?
Well, people said to me, repeatedly, people have said to me, well, what did you do when this large medical institution said we can't help you? Because they look at me now and they say, I mean, I know I'm not 100%, but I'm 95% recovered.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what happened? How did you lose 50 pounds? How did you get your brain faculties back? How did you solve the confusion? How did you get your occupation back in gear? And, how did you get your relationship with God right when you were so angry at God? And all those questions that I basically addressed in Supernatural Rescue.
Mm.
People want to know that. And I think a lot of people are struggling with their brain, not just elderly people, but I talk to a lot of people younger than myself. And I think it's the crazy world that we live in. We're multitasking. We're trying to do 20 things at one time. And, things fall between the cracks, not just losing the keys. You forget important dates. You have a to-do list. You don't get through the list. You get interrupted. But people are wanting to know, how can I help my brain? How can I improve my brain? And the great news is there's a lot of research out there that's giving us ideas and helps that, yes, we can turn our brain around, even if we're in the early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. And so the book that I want to write and that I have started taking notes and doing research on would be helpful for anybody really that wants to make their life better. And as a counselor, what I tell people, I try to cover the body, the soul, and the spirit. We're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything's connected to everything else. And as a counselor, we know that. I mean, your body, your health has to deal with your emotions, has to do with your relationships, sometimes even with your peace, if you have peace with God or not. So really, I try to cover a variety of subjects in basically how to make your mind sharper, but also how to have a better life, how to be happier, healthier, and have peace. And I think that's really what people want to know these days.
Well, especially now.
Yes, especially now. And, you have a choice. Do you want to have faith? Do you want to have strong conviction? Or do you want to live in fear? And a lot of people are living in fear right now, which I think is sad, because you have a choice. You don't have to live in fear if you don't want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With everything going on, yeah, there's a lot of fear right now. So absolutely. So Karen Smith, another fantastic author. Hello, Karen. Wants to know, did you self-publish?
It's interesting that you would ask me that, because initially people told me, oh, you can't get a publisher, forget it. And a writer's conference, I was actually pursued by a publisher. And so I didn't have to, which for me at that point in time, I needed a lot of help. They gave me a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I've literally gone and taken a course on self-publishing. And so, the thought has been out there that maybe the next book I will self-publish. But I mean, either way, it's work. I had a publisher. The publisher does a certain amount of things. You still have to do a certain amount of things on your own, although they do give you a lot of help. With self-publishing, you are out there working with a team of people that basically you put together to help you with that book. So
Mm,
it's a little different. I haven't decided for sure, but it has crossed my mind, and I certainly would consider that. The thing with self-publishing is I think you probably have a little bit more control over your book. And the
mm,
one thing that I felt my book lacked a little bit at the point it came out was PR. And some of the self-publishing schools help you in developing a team of people, which will help you with the PR. And that can be very important. So I see that as something I definitely would consider in the future.
absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone, I love your questions. So keep them coming so I can just get them out there in between chit chatting here. So, again, the link for the book, which is on Amazon, I'm pretty sure there's other places you can find the book, which we'll get to in just a moment, is on the page. So if you're interested in this book, it's right there on the page. So, um, yeah, I still can't get over all of that. And then to go through and write a book is amazes me. It really does amaze me. I don't think I would have written a book if I went through that though. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I probably would have done the opposite. I probably would have given up in that situation. Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably the easiest thing to do. It was easy what I went through. And especially when I made that decision, because, I feel that, the 8 hour brain surgery or nearly 8 hour brain surgery has had permanent repercussions that I can't reverse. Having said that, my brain issues are different than a lot of other people's brain issues. So
Mm,
really, I've had to fight my way through a lot of things with the help of God. And there again, I feel thankfully I didn't feel I was alone, but times that I felt weak, that I could lean on a God or a higher power, whatever you want to call him. For me, it's become a much more personal relationship because I really, honestly, I felt I was messed up for a long time. But at the same time, I loved helping people and I wanted to get back to helping people again.
I think, well, like I said before, I think that this would help a lot of people because, like I just said, I probably would have, like you said, it's easier to just, okay, I'm going to walk away. There's nothing left for me to do. But I have to ask, when they said there's nothing we can do for you, was that before the surgery or after the surgery to recover?
No, that was about 3 months after the surgery. This was after I learned how to walk again, which took months really on balance boards and using different types of physical therapy.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, in about 3 months or so, I was beginning to drive. I don't know that that was such a good idea for the other people on the road. However, um, my brain was really messed up. And when I say really messed up, okay, I'd be driving down the road and I'd be headed to, say, somebody's house. And then all of a sudden, I'd realize 10 miles later that I'd gone 10 miles too far and I didn't pull off the road. I didn't stop. And I mean, other crazy things like I would lose things constantly. I mean, I'm not just talking about the car keys. I would find like a piece of jewelry in the freezer of my refrigerator. I mean, things were just extremely disorganized. I couldn't remember anything. They were getting lost. My sense of organization just wasn't there. And so when I went to the major medical clinic, I believed in testing. I'm a psychologist, I tested people myself. And I said, certainly you can test me. You can give me brain tests, put me through all those tests. I'm confident you're going to come back with, I mean, this is what my thoughts were. I'm confident you're going to come back and you're going to have a plan. Just like in counseling, I would have a plan to help somebody.
Mm,
I would study the history and I would do the tests and I would have a plan. So I felt, this is a huge medical clinic, the largest in probably my part of the country. And certainly they would have this great plan. So it was more like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. I was like shocked, like, you have got to be kidding me. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, don't tell me there's nothing you can do. Not only that, they referred me to no one. And so it was really putting me at a square one. But I just had the hope. It's hard to explain. I just knew there had to be a way. And then I wasn't going to give up. And with the help of God, that it had to get better. It certainly couldn't be any worse.
right. Yeah, absolutely. So where do you go from there? I mean, if you're not referred to anyone, you have to seek out information. You have to find whatever it is you need, or that one person to tell you what you need. So what did you do after that?
Well, honestly, I just started doing a lot of research on the internet, at the library, in the bookstore, everywhere I went that I could find research or books on the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to remember, I mean, physically, I was not in a good place. I'd taken a lot of steroids. I was about 50 pounds overweight. Never been 50 pounds overweight in my life. Looked in the mirror. I didn't know who I was. It was very depressing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, I knew that if I don't know, something inside of me, I knew that if I could address my health and issues concerning my health, my diet, my exercise, that would help me. And, one piece of advice the brain doctor or the surgeon gave me after the surgery was to walk. And the ironic part of that, Brian, was I couldn't walk. I had no balance. This was like Christmas time, and my husband took me to the mall, and he literally dragged me around the mall on his shoulder because I'd had no balance. I had a space in my head the size of a tennis ball, and I couldn't walk. But you know what I've learned? Exercise is outstanding for your brain. And different types of exercise triggers different areas of your brain. People will say, oh, do brain games. Well, I did to a point. I did puzzles. But as I read books, I found out that there's types of brain training that you can take and that I've taken that will help your brain. Writing, reading, research, just anything I could get my hands on, I studied and read, and I tried to follow the advice in those doctors that knew something about the brain. What any advice that they had, I tried it. Now, maybe not all of it helped, but a lot of it did help, and I did get better. But also, I changed my eating. I started eating healthier. I started getting rid of foods that cause inflammation, because inflammation is a major problem we have in our body, but it can affect your brain in a major way. I found out what supplements I could take that could possibly help my brain. So this wasn't like a one-day deal. This was days, weeks, months. And I still continue to do that type of research, not only for myself, but for other people as well. People are always asking me questions. What can I do? And obviously they don't want to hear the answer that I heard. There's nothing you can do. So I want to have information that as I do my talks, and I do a variety of different talks, some of them are strictly regarding the book, the testimony in the book. Some people like to hear about the supernatural things that happened in the book. Some people just want to hear, like, how did I get well? And some people will say, Linda, how did you ever recover from this? So many people have said, I know somebody that went through a surgery like you went through, and either they never recovered or they're not here to talk about it. And so people want to know those things. So, I'm happy to be able to provide answers that I did not have for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's a good thing that people are asking questions. So just like Karen. So Karen would like to know, did you develop your own plan for recovery, or did you find someone to help you carry out that plan?
Pretty much. And I think because I had that problem solving background, being a psychologist, we solve, problems, we develop, plans. At least I had the capability to do that. But it was reading many books by many different people, talking to people, listening to other people's experiences. So, I won't say I did it alone. I did not do it alone. It was with the help of many people. But basically, yeah, I had to come up with the plan. I wasn't lucky enough or fortunate enough to find somebody that said, I'm going to walk you through this and you're going to get well and you're not going to be having the issues you're having. It just
Right.
wasn't there. The information just wasn't at my fingertips like I would have liked it to be.
Well, I hope that this major institute now knows of your recovery and what you have gone through, to kind of throw it back at them. So, yeah, I'd love to see their faces. Let's see. Don't forget, people, if you have questions, please keep up with the questions. So, thanks, Karen, for the question. So, always good questions. You talk about supernatural in the book. What exactly do you mean?
Well, there were a number of things that happened, Brian, that I really can't explain. And, I'm not out there to make anybody a believer that doesn't believe. Some people believe, some people don't believe. And the purpose of the book is not to try to make everybody believers in God or supernatural or anything. It's more or less just what I went through. And
Mhm.
while I didn't see the other side, there are stories of people that have died and seen the other side. I didn't get to see the other side, but I do know that my spirit, my soul was separated from my body, and I was dying, and I was ready to go out the front door. And I was at the front door when basically a large hand came out and pulled me back into my body. And ironically, it was at a point, honestly, that I thought God had left me.
Mm.
There's a chapter in the book called The 10 Dark Days. And the 10 days after the surgery, I was just basically like an empty vessel. I felt like a vegetable. People say, what does it feel like to be a vegetable? Well, you can't think, you can't walk, you can't problem solve. And I just put my face in my hands really for about 30 days, first 30 days of that period, and cried. But for 10 days, for whatever reason, I felt God had left me. And I put my faith in God as a young child. And I don't know, I was one of those people that said, I feel like I need evidence. I feel like I need to know you're out there, God. And for whatever he sent to me or gave me, I had felt like God was there. But after the brain surgery, and don't ask me why, Brian, but I just felt like God had left me. He was gone.
Mm.
I was empty, and there was no hope, because I felt, hey, if God's gone, I can't do anything. I'm a nothing. And I almost felt like a part of me wanted to die when I felt myself separating. And I wish I could better describe the feeling of that, other than the fact I felt myself getting further and further away from my physical body. And I was sleeping on the couch. We had a townhome. I was sleeping downstairs because I couldn't go up the stairs to sleep in my own bed. So I was downstairs on the lower level when I felt the separation begin. And as soon as that hand forced me back into my body, I knew God was back. But then I was upset and I was angry. And that's when all the whys, all the questioning began.
Yeah. Ugh, I can just imagine. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people who have gone through something similar like that. Um, they always say, I asked why. Why me? What did I do? Uh,
Yes,
like
yes.
that. So, yeah. And it's only afterwards that they finally realize, and hopefully find the answers. So,
Well, just one more supernatural event. I went through this questioning, and this went into the fibromyalgia, which was 8, 9, 10 months later. I was still questioning, and I had learned to walk, and I was doing a little better. And I went up to Ohio to take care of my 100-year-old father. I couldn't really work, but I could go up and help him out. And something happened in the house while I was trying to care for him, and it was something like an electrical shock. And I went out in the garage. It was wintertime. I didn't want my father to hear me cry. And I just screamed at God and said, God, why didn't you let me die? Because I just was so bitter and so angry, and I couldn't seem to get well. And I was so upset.
mm,
But I'll tell you what, Brian, one thing I learned is never be afraid to get angry with God and yell at God. And this is probably one aspect I would have changed my mind if you'd asked me what I thought about this a few years ago. But that night, literally, a bright light came through the ceiling of my bedroom. And, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's a dream. It's a dream. And I'm slapping myself, and I realize it's not a dream. I'm awake. And this blue light came through the ceiling, and there was a figure on the other side looking at me. And I just felt this was like an angel that God sent me to tell me that I was going to make it and I was going to be okay. But
mm.
honestly, if I'd not gotten mad and yelled at God, I'm not sure I ever would have got the angel. But, I've had dreams also that have come true during this period of time. But that was just another kind of a big miracle, a big supernatural event that I really can't explain. And there again, if you don't believe, I'm not trying to force you into being a believer. I'm just telling you what I've experienced myself.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to have to read this, and I hope other people will read this as well. if people are going through something or they've been through something and they're still wondering why, and asking all those questions, hopefully someone will pick up this book and read it. And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure that people have said, thank you, or I couldn't have done it without your book, or at least be appreciative and help someone. So it's always about helping someone. I love helping people. So Daniel Payton, one thing I've always known as a Christian, it's okay to yell at God, to tell him why you're furious at life. However, the next step is to listen for the response. Jesus wants us to speak to him, is what Dan is saying. So
I would agree with that. And I think, the communication, people don't know how to reach out to God, and all you have to do is talk to him. I believe that. I really do believe that. And I think so many times I felt so weak during this process. Had it not been my relationship, in spite of my bad feelings at times, God strengthened me and got me through things I never could have gotten through without him. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've mentioned Amazon as one place to find the book. Is there any other place or a website or a group or anything that you may have?
Oh, sure. Basically, my email is Linda S. Plunkett. I'm sorry, lindasPlunkett.com. That's my website, first of all. Hope for Hurting, HOPEFORHURTING at AOL.com. You can contact me there. And if you want a hardback, or if you want to book me for a speaking engagement, you can reach me at that email. Also, I have a Facebook page called Supernatural Rescue. So connect with me on the Supernatural Rescue page. I'd love to connect with you and also hear your thoughts and feelings about the book, or anything you'd like to talk about.
Absolutely. So, and I'm pretty sure that after, because I usually get late people viewing in when I'm about ready to go off, and they always leave questions. So I'm pretty sure that if there's any questions from people, I can forward them to you and you'll be able to answer them for me.
I would be happy to.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that if anyone has any questions, you can contact her through that way, or through the page that she just mentioned, which is Supernatural Rescue, which again, I did tag. So it's through on my Facebook page as well. So if anyone's wondering. So yeah. Like I said, I'm going to have to read this book. I will be more than happy to give you my thoughts or any questions that I personally have.
Thank you.
So and if you are planning a second book, then that means that you're going to have to come back on and talk to us about that one. Because I have a feeling it's going to be as good as the first one. So,
well, thank you, Brian. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on and talking to us about this. So, I think the other reason why I was hesitant, to be honest with you, only because my mother passed away from a brain. How do I even want to say it? Astro something. But anyways, that had to do with the head and the brain and whatnot. So it's just like,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So do I want to talk about this? Do I want to, bring all this stuff up or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? I think I do, because it needs to be talked about, because I was one of those people that had the questions. Why did this happen? What can I have done differently and stuff like that. So that's another reason why I'm going to read the book. And I implore people, if you have gone through this situation, or someone that, is recovering or whatnot, give them the book, have them read it. So, so again, thank you for coming on and explaining everything.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions before we go? We have some time. So, anybody else? I'm pretty sure people have some questions. They always wait till the last minute. I love how they do that. So, so I'm pretty sure, besides me, you're getting out there, you're going on podcasts, and you're talking to people about the book and experiences and everything. How is that going?
It's going great. And unfortunately, because of COVID, I had a number of live speaking engagements that have had to be rescheduled. But Bruce has kept me busy, and I've been doing things online and also been working on the online coaching program that I mentioned, and also, doing additional notes on what would be the next book. So, when you're writing, I also do, I'm doing a monthly, which if you go to my page, Supernatural Rescue, I'm doing basically a monthly type of, I don't know what you would call it, like a blog.
Okay.
You can go back, and I have had a lot of thoughts regarding our current situation, how to get through that, how to stay positive when we live in a very negative world.
Mm,
It's so easy to get caught up with the negativity of the news, et cetera. And I just think sometimes we need to focus on other types of things, so that we don't become depressed. We don't feel that we don't have that basically that there are no options. We do have options. Our options may have changed. They may not be the same options that we
mhm.
had 6 months ago, but there are other things that we can do and be involved with that still are very important and can really count as far as making our lives happier and healthier, and reaching out to other people as well. So I would want to encourage people, if you're one of those people, and I know a number of them, that they just seem depressed, they seem introverted, they, not doing much of anything. There's options. There's other things you can do and you can be involved with. Go to my Supernatural page, rescue page, because the last, I think it was the August blog that I did, I listed a number of things that could be positive and helpful while you're quarantining or while you're going through the current situation that we're all involved with.
Mm, yeah. I think a lot of people need that because a lot of people are not knowing what to do to keep themselves well in this situation. So that's another positive thing. Speaking of COVID, I normally ask every guest because of COVID, and whether you're quarantining or not, a lot of people are staying home. Is there any habit that you've picked up that you normally would have not have thought of or done since this whole thing? For example, I have relatives that are doing puzzles, or some people are reading now. Me, I'm reading constantly now. So is there anything that you've picked up since because
Well,
of the whole COVID thing?
I think to answer that, I have to say, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Some of us, and I would be one of those people. Yes, I am reading and I'm writing and doing things at home, but I love to get out and do things as well. But
Mm,
fortunately, there's been some activities I could still do, like going, say, playing golf, where you social distance, you
yep.
take part. I've been very grateful because I like to exercise. The parks are still open. You can go out and you can walk. And, I would encourage people to find some type of physical activity, because a number of people seem to be talking about, oh, I've put on 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, or worse than that, I've gone to the doctor. Now I'm having health problems because I'm not being active. So I would encourage you, yeah, do things at home. That's great. But do some forms of physical activity to maintain your physical health. And I personally am a ballroom dancer, and I was so disappointed. I had 3 events canceled and
Mhm.
wasn't doing any dancing lessons. And now the occasional lessons I do, I have to wear a mask, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
But, I have been grateful to go out and still be able to do long walks and play golf. And I've been able to maintain my health and my physical well-being, but I have had to alter what I was doing. So I think there again, some people don't feel maybe as safe going out, but I think if you choose where you go, if you
Hmm.
feel safe eating outside, to go out and eat, or even taking food and having a picnic in the park, and having your own space where you space yourself away from other people, maybe just with you and your family, but getting outside, because there again, the sun has a very positive effect on our health. If we don't get enough vitamin D, we can become depressed. Some people unfortunately are more inclined to say drink more alcohol if they stay home and they don't get out and they're not active. So just, be very careful with those kinds of things. Watch what you're doing. Be careful. Observe what you're doing and saying, are there any negative changes that have happened because of COVID? And what can I do to be proactive about getting myself back on track again?
Yeah.
Same thing with eating. All right, am I making healthy choices, or am I eating out of boredom, which is very easy just to eat out of boredom?
Oh, yes.
It's not good for your body, and you're eating more than your body needs. And then, it can cause health ramifications, that maybe things you didn't deal with that now you have to deal with. So, I would just say, look at the overall picture and say, how am I doing? How am I functioning? And what changes can I make maybe to make my life healthier?
There you go. That's one way of looking at it. Yeah. Excellent. I don't think I've ever had anyone say that before. So yeah. All right. Makes sense. So Jane Hendricks is saying, great book. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to go along with Jane. So
Thank you.
yeah. If anyone else has any other questions, don't forget after the show, I can always forward them over to Linda here, and she'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions, or you can ask her directly by going to her page, Supernatural Rescue. Again, I'll post all the links on my Facebook page, and the link is already there, so I highly recommend you read it. And I've noticed a lot of people are starting to do the Amazon Kindle Unlimited because I've got so many authors in it. I don't know if it's a Kindle Unlimited book. I'm not sure. I didn't look. Is it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I do know that it's very economical if you purchase it to download it. So, but that's a good question. I'm really not sure.
I'm going to quickly find out.
Okay.
Before I even say anything. So all I have to do, and if you don't see the link, folks, all you have to do is go to Amazon.com, and in the search bar, just type in the author's name or the name of the book. So I'm just going to put in Linda Plunkett, and her name should pop up because I've already searched her. Okay, so it's not a Kindle Unlimited book, but for the price, people, I mean, come on. So I'm pretty sure that everyone can download it. So, all right. Yeah. So there you go. Again, I want to thank you for coming on and
thank you, Brian,
talking about this. And I'm really serious. If there is a second book, obviously I'm going to read it, but I'm also going to have you come on and we're going to talk about it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So, all right, folks, that pretty much is it. That is the end for this Thursday's show. Next week, I think Bruce has given me another guest for next week as well. So, I think I have another author next week. So, yeah, I'll make sure to post that show tonight so everyone else has it. If anyone has any questions, concerns, topic ideas, or anything for me, you know that you can get a hold of me right on Facebook page there. Don't forget that this show you're going to find afterwards on most of the podcast sites, which really excites me. So for you Google people, you can just ask Google to play The Brian Shepherd Show. So, and you'll be able to listen to the show and multiple episodes that are on there. Don't forget, we're also live on Facebook as we speak, but it's also there for when you want to watch it afterwards. And for a lot of people, we're not really doing too much, except for me. I still work 40 hours, but you have time to sit there and watch the show. There's no excuse. And there's no excuse not to read either. Reading is very important, and we have plenty of time to do that right at the moment. So, and like I said before at the beginning of the show, if you do buy the book or any author's book that's on this show, please leave a review, whether it's good or bad, because I've had authors who want to know the bad stuff as well. Why they didn't like the book or a certain part of it. Maybe they'll change something. So, but there you go. That's it. So I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I'm going to try. I have to work, but yeah. So, yeah. How is the weather where you are? I don't even know where you are, but how is the weather?
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and it's absolutely beautiful. Maybe 70 degrees outside.
I'm sorry, you're where?
Asheville, North Carolina.
Asheville.
Yeah, that's at the edge of the mountains. You've
Okay.
heard, yeah, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Um,
It's in Western North Carolina.
yes, I'm trying to think if that's where my sister just moved, as a matter of fact. That's why I was like, wait a minute, what did she just say? Asheville. I think
Asheville.
I'll have to ask my sister, but my sister just moved to North Carolina. So
It's
I used to live in Greensboro, North Carolina, a long
uh-huh.
time ago, though. Very nice place, very nice people. But I have a feeling she lives in the same town.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to find out and let you know.
It's a great
So,
place to come and visit. It really is great up here.
if it is the same place, then yes, I will be visiting to see my sister at some point, though. I'm a little bit weary on traveling at the moment, so I'm not sure if North Carolina is on that list of do not go to.
No,
Because
it's not too bad. People are wearing masks, but honestly, I really haven't known anybody that's had COVID here or in Florida, and I go back and forth between here and Florida. But
okay,
people seem to be afraid of flying on planes, but honestly, people are not only wearing masks on the planes, but most of the planes now have a filtering system where it recycles the air every 3 seconds, and it's the equivalent to that of a surgery room, like in a hospital.
oh,
It's
okay,
it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
all right. And you said, I'm sorry, the name of the town again?
Asheville.
Okay, she is in Ashboro.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure where that is.
Okay, well, all right. Good thing I kind of figured that out. But still, North Carolina, I do want to go. So maybe I'll add Asheville to my list of places to visit. So
Mountains are beautiful. You definitely should come and see the mountains.
I've heard about the mountains. I think my sister was telling me about the mountains. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go down there. Most definitely. All right, everyone. Well, that is it. And I hope that everyone has a fantastic weekend. And I will see everyone next Thursday at the same time, 8 p.m. We do have a guest. I'll make sure to post that right after the show. And that's it. So again, Linda, thank you so much for coming on. I'll wait for you to come back on. And we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Have a great
You too. All right, everyone, that is it. I'm going to go now. And like I said, pick up the book, go to Amazon. I think I just hit the wrong button because she disappeared. Nope, there she is. And just grab the book. Do some reading. Everyone's got time to read, like I said. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything about my show, you can always get a hold of me. If you have questions for Linda, go to her Facebook page, which is Supernatural Rescue. It's right there on our page, along with the link for the book. And that's it. I'm just going to go. I swear there was something else that I had to tell you guys, but I have no idea what it is. But it can wait. I'll make a post. So, all right, everyone, have a great, fantastic night, and we'll see you next week.